We are talking about The Entity. What entity? There's so many movies called The Entity or The Entity something or other. Let me clarify. We're talking The Entity from 2019, directed by Eric Matty. This is actually the English translation of this Filipino movie. Let's discuss the story. Effectively, it's kind of a possession movie. It focuses mainly on this student who goes back to his family home after he's informed that his sister has died. When he gets there, his parents are kind of giving him the runaround about the circumstances of the sister's death. There appears to be something going on, and he's kind of warned by kind of another person that there may well be, you know, dark forces at work. Inevitably, there are dark forces at work, and there seems to be an evil presence lurking within the house that even kind of predates when the family lived there, but has been kind of building and affecting people that end up living there. Now, what will happen? You'll have to watch the movie and find out. So let's discuss The Entity. I will say I have seen some critiques of this movie saying that they found it confusing. I didn't really think it was necessarily confusing. I do think that it introduces a couple of like elements that I guess people find confusing. I didn't necessarily think it was, but I'll come on to that. And the reason why I say that, to me, this is like a very run-of-the-mill possession movie. It's exactly what you're going to expect, really, in a possession movie. It tries to do a little bit of kind of like nuance, I suppose, with things like gender roles. The father of this household is a very traditional Filipino father and stuff, and there is a little bit of kind of gender roles and things that the movie kind of goes into. But outside of that, it's very much business as usual in regards to what you're going to expect in a standard possession movie. Yes, there's, you know, elevating kind of like threats. There's the kind of the wise old person that's going to kind of warn you, etc. There's ultimately a kind of exorcism type scene in it. It's kind of exactly what you're going to expect. So in that manner, I would say if you are a fan of that possession style kind of movie, then knock yourself out. I think you'll probably maybe enjoy this one. I mean, on top of that, it's competently put together. You know, the movie is, as I say, a Filipino movie, but it looks like it's a solid production in regards to its technical kind of elements. It's a little dark at times, perhaps, but I think the whole point is that it's meant to be in this dark house. I didn't find it distracting. I thought it was kind of, the production values look pretty good. There's some you know, reasonable kind of makeup and stuff here. There's okay kind of VFX. I think there's some fairly good kind of like jump scares and kind of set pieces. It's nothing that's kind of outstanding, I would suggest, but I do think it's kind of you know, it will kind of itch the scratch if you're expecting a certain type of movie, which I think this one does. I think the performances are all okay. Again, this is a non-English spoken language movie, so you know, bear that in mind. But I thought everyone did, you know, an okay job about what's kind of their roles and things like this. It kind of has an interesting mythology. I would suggest the kind of the threat level here is, you know, we understand that it's not just a family. It's kind of maybe an evil which has been building over time with kind of layers added to it and things, which I found interesting. So there's kind of a history of kind of cruelty has ultimately resulted in this. So it's kind of like been built upon by, you know, man's inhumanity to man. So I thought that was an interesting kind of idea here. So, you know, to me it's just like it's a serviceable possession movie. I think it kind of has the right kind of elements that would kind of, you know, enjoy those type of movies. It's kind of like it pushes the right buttons if that is what you are looking for. Where it does go wrong a little bit, I would say, is it really doesn't kind of break any barriers. It is very much like what you've seen before, and I don't think it really, the elements that it does bring to the table, I don't really set it apart. I mean, there's a few kind of bells and whistles, as they say. There's a little bit of a kind of backstory in regards to the kind of like the parents and the children and things like that. I won't go into it here, but I suspect that's possibly what the confusion may be about. There is a kind of reveal towards the end of the movie about our main protagonist. I didn't necessarily think it was earned. It's interesting. I don't think you'd see it coming, but I didn't really feel it was earned. Is the best way I would kind of describe it. Maybe the movie tries to kind of layer in a few hidden agendas, and maybe does it a little bit too much. There's maybe one too many in regards to, oh my god, dark secrets are revealed. More dark secrets are revealed. More dark secrets are revealed. Things like this. I think the main complaint for me is this movie. It's a little too long. It's about 2 hours in length, and it didn't really have that much story. I didn't think that's kind of like warranted a kind of extended running time. It is very much business as usual. Maybe one other element I feel may confuse people is it has flashbacks, but it's not immediately apparent you're watching a flashback. It doesn't do anything. It just kind of immediately kind of goes into it. So sometimes you'll be watching a sequence thinking, what am I watching? VFX wise, I think it's, it's again nothing you haven't seen before. I think there are a couple of times where it's obviously kind of wire work. It's obviously kind of like CGI monsters and things like this. And then we kind of get like the kind of some good effects like wounds and things like that. There's a couple of times where I think it gets a little bit hammy. The main possession sequence and the main kind of exorcism kind of that results in that. I don't know. It feels like it's really copying from like the movies like The Exorcist, and this is what I mean. Maybe its biggest sin here is it's just kind of very generic, which leads me to the conclusion here. I think this movie is okay. It's like a very kind of by the numbers possession movie. I don't think it's anything outstanding. It's maybe knocked down a bit because I just feel that the movie's a little bit too long, and as such, the pacing of it feels a little stretched at times. So in that regards, I will give this movie a slightly below average mark. Had it been a little bit more punchy, it would have been an average movie for me. But it just feels like it's a little drawn out in an otherwise kind of average but serviceable kind of possession movie. So it's a 4 out of 10 for me. It might sound like it's a bad review. It's not necessarily a bad film. It's a very average film, but it's just let down by maybe a little bit of kind of stagnant in regards to the storytelling and things like that. 4 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Please do let me know, and I shall look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.